So good morning, welcome back. So good to be here again at the Cancer Support Community in Delaware. I am Jessica Lewis, and I am the founder of a company called Sculpt Your Life, which is based on the principles of moving well, eating well, and relaxing well. It's as if we're all sitting up on a tripod. No, we're sitting on a three-legged stool. That is our health, our optimum health and well-being. And you can shorten up one of the legs a lot even and still sit on your seat. But if you whoop one of those legs away, you're going to fall over. So that's what I do. I teach people how to move well, eat well, and relax well. And I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutritional counselor, and I'm an accredited Tai Chi instructor. So that's what I'm here to show you today. Again, Tai Chi. In fact, actually, I'm not just going to show you Tai Chi. I'm going to show you a particular style of Tai Chi known as Tai Chi Chih. The third word is pronounced Cha, although it's spelled C-H-I-H. You'd think it might be pronounced Tai Chi Chi, but it's Tai Chi Chih. And if you were to translate that phrase from Chinese into English, what you come up with is knowledge of the supreme ultimate, which is very different from Tai Chi Chuan, which is actually what most people mean when they say Tai Chi. They don't realize they mean Tai Chi Chuan, but Tai Chi is sort of like the nickname for the practice known as Tai Chi Chuan. That, translated into English, means supreme ultimate fist. So you can tell right away there's a huge distinction between Tai Chi Chih and pretty much all other styles of Tai Chi. This is not a martial art, what I'm about to show you. There's no martial application here. This is nothing other than a moving mindfulness practice. So I guess let's get down to business, okay? I always like to begin and end all of my classes with a little bit of good old-fashioned mindfulness, though. Since I'm standing, let's just do it standing. If you're seated, though, that's fine too. But if you're standing, let's go ahead and get comfortable. We're going to find what I like to call our body neutral position. Okay, so if my feet were my hands and I could show them to you easily, you would see they're sort of in like a V shape. So find the shape that works for you with your heels a little closer than your toes. And even this is okay if that's what really feels comfortable to you. Okay? Now, let's find a way to distribute the weight completely evenly across the soles of both your feet. So when my knees are locked all the way in the back, I don't know about you, but my weight feels like it's just in my heels. In fact, I can wiggle my toes when my knees are locked in the back because my weight is so in my heels. I can wiggle my toes without moving any other muscles in the body. I don't know if that's how you feel about it, but that's what's going on with me. So just let your knees soften up a little bit. Just allow them to be softer. And when that happens, do you notice that your weight suddenly just smears itself out across the soles of both your feet? That's what happens for me, right? So just take a moment to feel your weight evenly distributed across the soles of both your feet. Feel your feet really in touch with the floor, or at least the insides of your hard shoes. Just feel that. Just notice it. Nice. And then what to do with the hands. I always say, let's start with the arms just hanging down from the shoulders. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? So just feel your upper arms literally just hanging down from the shoulders. They're just hanging there. Feel your hands just hanging at the ends of your arms. And then just imagine somebody simply lifted all 5 of the fingers on each of your hands, just like that. Right? So it's as if you're suddenly resting your palms on an invisible countertop in front of you. And the easiest way to do all this is if there's a little softness in your elbows. So this would be pushing down on that invisible countertop, but this is just resting on the invisible countertop. And look how the softness in the knees is about the same as the softness in the elbows now. We've got a little curve to the arm and a little curve to the leg. Right? Nature loves curves. Just part of a big circle. Nature loves circles even more. So here we are. We're just going to feel our feet touching the ground. We're just resting our palms energetically on the ground. And now all I want you to do is sort of go inside with your mind's eye and just look around the little nooks and crannies of your body. Just start to notice things. Notice sensations. Notice your breathing. Notice your belly. Is it tense? What the heck? Notice your pelvic floor. Are you kegling? I'm almost always kegling. I have a really bad old injury in my left hip from karate. I'm almost always kegling. But when I look around in there, I notice it and I'm able to relax. Just notice what's happening in there. And then pick a spot somewhere in your inner landscape that you normally pay no attention to. And I'm going to ring the bell here. The Buddhists would say, I'm going to call the bell. And until you hear me ringing it for the second time in just a few seconds, I want you just to allow your attention to dwell on whatever spot it is you've chosen. And if your mind wanders, that is a completely, utterly normal thing to happen. That's just what minds do. You can just invite it back as many times as you need to, if you like. Just keep refocusing your attention on that spot. Okay, so you ready? You got a spot? I've picked mine. Let's go. See if you can follow the bell all the way out of the room. I think it finally stopped ringing. Okay. Well now, many of you tune in week after week after week. By the way, I'm so grateful. Thank you for that. You've probably heard me say almost everything that I say every week a million times by now. But the one thing that, well, there's not just one thing. One of the things I love about Tai Chi Chih, this, by the way, is the list of all 20 movements, is, number one, there's 20 movements, only 20. Some Tai Chi Chuan practices have as many as 108 movements, a lot of movements to learn. Number two, this is the suggested order. I don't know if you can read on Facebook Live, but this says suggested order. You do not have to do them in order. You don't even have to do them all in order to have some potentially amazing health benefits occur in your life as a direct result of regular practice. And another thing is, in between each one of the movements, we flow back to that motionless stance that I already helped you figure out for yourself when we were doing our mindfulness. So it's very, very easy to mix and match the movements that you like best, because they very clearly begin and end. In a lot of Tai Chi Chuan practices, the end of one movement is the beginning of the next. So you're flowing constantly from minute 1 through minute 45 without stopping. So this is a very user-friendly, incredibly customizable, and therefore even more user-friendly Tai Chi practice. Maybe the most user-friendly of all, right? So let's start at the beginning, work our way through. Theoretically, there's typically about 9 repetitions of each movement. Sometimes it ends up being 3 sets, And the 3 sets each have 3 pieces, and that adds up to 9. But in the interest of time, so that we don't short shift the latter half of the practice, for these first movements that all have 9 reps, I'm going to limit that down to 6. And then we're going to see if we have enough time to do all the repetitions for the second half of the practice, okay? So let's begin by feeling the feet touching the ground. Nice soft knees. Heels a little closer than your toes, so you're in a little bit of a V shape down there on your feet. Nice soft elbows, so your hands are kind of resting on that invisible countertop. And I'm going to mirror you when I'm facing you. When I turn sideways, I won't, okay? So we want to begin rocking motion by stepping out with this leg. And the easiest way to do that is kind of let your weight kind of ooze into the opposing leg so you can step out with the empty leg really easily. And you're going to straighten out your toes. And now you want your weight to go to the rear. So we're just going to lengthen the knees back there and place the hands back there. And now we're just going to flow forward and back. I'm going to turn sideways so you see a different angle. I'm going to try real hard to only do 6 of these. I often do a lot of rocking motion because it's considered the warm-up movement for the entire practice. We're going to do 2 more. Now on this last one, we're going to shift back the direction we came from. Going to just feel our feet touching the floor for a moment. Then we're going to let the hands float down and towards each other, especially the heels of the hands. You might feel some unusual sensations between your palms when they're this close. That's called polarity. And we're going to do bird flaps its wings. Just allow your body to sink and rise. I'm actually not going to give a lot of instruction today. I just want you to copy and follow along. Here comes a little circle in the air. And then rising again. We say that the best way to do this particular Tai Chi practice is with the effort of no effort at all. So even the effort of worrying about whether or not you're doing it right is too much work. I also think there's no such thing as bad Tai Chi. It's all good and it just keeps getting gooder. So I want you to just copy me. Here comes the circle. And then we're simply going to flow back to rest for just a moment. Feeling the feet touching the ground. And now we're going to get ready for around the platter. So here we are. We're all going to sink down and shift towards your right. Now your left leg should feel pretty darn empty, so just extend it. It won't require any work on your part to do that. Put your hands up at the back of what's now a big invisible round platter at about heart height. And as we flow forward into that left leg, it was empty, now it's full. And then back towards the right leg again. The hands are going to circle out and around the platter. Just follow me. Flow with me. We're going to call this number 6. I'm not a great counter. And we're going to flow back to the soles of the feet and feel them touching the ground. And now we're going to do the other side. We're going to sink down And shift to your left this time. Your right leg is empty, so just extend the knee. The hands come up to the back of the platter, and here we go. We're flowing forward till the rear leg is empty, and back till the front leg is empty. Nice. The reason why I'm not giving a lot of instruction today, though, is because it's been my experience that when I talk a lot, people seem to stay so up in their head that they work way harder than they have to. Let's do one more. And then simply float back down to that comfortable rest position. And feel your feet touching the floor. Let's go right into around the platter variation. So let's sink down. Shift this way, it's probably your right. Extend the empty leg, it's probably your left. The hands go up to the back of the platter again. They start to move only just in front of your left shoulder. Suddenly there's a variation in the way you're holding your hands. And then there's not. That's why we call this around the platter variation. Nice. One more. Soles of the feet. Other side. So if you simply go ahead and try to follow me, copy what you see without concern of whether or not you're doing a good job, I bet you will find that you are simply going with the flow at some point. One more. And I always say that the word flow is actually an acronym. Follow love over worry. That's really the reason why we're here, right? That's what we want to do in our lives. Now we're going to do bass drum. So let's sink down, shift over to your right. When you're really in your right leg, just extend the empty left leg. I'm going to turn a little bit so I don't kick my props. And the hands are going to come up to about chest height. They're about shoulder width apart. And as we flow forward, the fingertips are going to circle down and then around. A big old high school marching band bass drum. Can you see my hands circling around them? Nice. Let's do one more. Other side. You've probably already figured out that in every one of these Tai Chi moves, at least one body part is drawing a circle in the air. You can really see it in bass drum. Let's do one more. Nice. Let's do a movement called Daughter on the Mountaintop. You're going to see some circles here too. Here we go. We are sinking down and to your right so that your empty left leg can extend, and here we go. It's as if we're tracing two circles in the air, two overlapping circles with our hands. So what's with all the circles in Tai Chi? You're probably wondering. Have you ever noticed that moving in a circular manner is one of the easiest ways to move through life? Have you ever noticed that? In fact, that's one of the governing principles of the universe. Let's do one more. Everything in the universe is constantly circling around, coming back again. You could call it a season or an orbit. It's just a circle. Nice. Another thing that's also happening in the body when you're doing Tai Chi is this constant flux between expansion and contraction. Let's do one more. Also a serious governing principle of the universe. And now we're going to do a movement called Daughter in the Valley, which is often considered sort of the complement to the movement we just did. Now, one of the reasons why Tai Chi makes you well is because it basically reminds the body how to move in concert with the governing principles of the universe. We all know how to move in these ways, but we get so darn busy in our lives we forget to do it. This is number 6. Here's a good example of something in the universe that moves in circles: waves. They wash up on the beach, and then they change directions and wash back into the water. And then they change directions and they wash back up on the beach. Nice. We're going to do one more. Soles of the feet. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit. There's one side-to-side movement sort of sandwiched in amongst all of the forward-backward movements. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to modify it a little bit so I don't step out of the view of the camera today. All right? So let's all sink down. We're going to shift to your right, but we're going to turn the belly a little bit to the right as well. And you might notice that your right shoulder just went back. So put your hand up in the back like you're going to wave at me. And then put your other hand in front of it, where it's like we're holding the same size ball we were holding when we did around the platter variation a minute ago, only over here by your right shoulder. Now your left leg is probably so empty that you notice it could simply sneak away from the body to the side, and that's what I want you to do. Just let it go. And now we're going to begin to drift into that left leg and then back again. And we're just going to pull the hands along for the ride. We're going to do a third rotation, and we're just going to stand up on that left leg because we were already floating into it anyway. Now we're going back the other way. Nice. Let's do it again. This is one of those movements that has 3 sets of 3. I was talking a few minutes ago about waves. That's actually a really important metaphor for Tai Chi. Waves versus ocean. Think about it for a minute. There really is no difference between the waves and the ocean. The waves are part of the ocean. The ocean is part of the wave. But when you're on the front edge of the wave, you can get beat up pretty bad. I actually know someone who dislocated her shoulder just by getting stuck in a funky wave when she was body surfing in Rehoboth as a kid. It's not like she was in Maui or riding some sort of tsunami, you know. And life is like that sometimes. We get beat up in the surf. It's constant, it's turbulent, right? But if you just go a little further out into the water and a little further down, you come to a place where the water is very, very still and quiet. Even in the middle of a hurricane, it's like that. And that's the kind of energy that's always inside of us. It's limitless. It has such healing power. But we get so caught up in the wave sometimes we forget. So being able to practice things like Tai Chi and mindfulness and lots of other things, yoga too, it sort of puts us back in touch with the ocean down there. It's always in there. It's always quiet. So let's go back to a few of our forward-backward movements now. The next one's going to be called push-pull. We're going to sink down. We're going to shift towards your right. Extend the empty leg, which is probably your left leg. Hands up to the shoulders. And we're just going to let that forward motion of the body push the hands forward. The backward motion of the body, pull the hands back. I'm going to just change the angles here. You don't need to change feet. I just don't mirror when I'm to the side. But notice all the body parts that are expanding while others contract here. This last one's going to be number 6. Soles of the feet. Other side. And if even all this Tai Chi thing causes you to do is spend more time feeling your feet touching the ground, I still will have done you a massive favor, my friends. One more. Feel your feet touching the ground. And one last forward-backward movement before we get into a whole bunch of side-to-side movements. We're going to sink down and shift to the right. Empty left leg extends, hands under that invisible platter now. And we're going to pull in some energy. That's what this is called, pulling in the energy. There's a visualization with this movement, actually. Once the weight shift feels really comfortable to you, you can go ahead and imagine energy from the most distant star you can possibly fathom, just flowing into your body through each one of your fingertips. Soles of the feet. And let's do the other side. It's like you're sucking that energy into your body through 10 little straws. I have this fancy headset on, so you probably hear some heavy breathing going on out there. There's actually no prescribed breathing technique for this particular style of Tai Chi. And we're going to call this number 6. Soles of the feet. I take that back. There is a prescribed breathing technique. It's called breathing. I just want you to breathe. I don't care how you do it, okay? Now we're going to go through a whole bunch of movements that are all based on one particular pattern called pulling Taffy. It's actually very easy. Some people consider this complex, but I think it's very easy. The side-to-side weight shift is the same as it was for carry the ball to the side, so I think it's going to look familiar. Let's just do one set of pulling Taffy with one arm, and I think you're going to realize how easy this is. We're going to sink and shift and turn a little bit to your right. You're going to feel your right shoulder going back, and more importantly, you're going to feel and see your left shoulder going forward. Now this left shoulder is sending a signal down this arm to just cross the belly. Let's go back up to the top here and see if you feel that. We're going to sort of corkscrew down into your right leg, and organically this arm is going to flow across the belly. Here we go. You feel it? You see it? And we'll just let this hand hang. Your left leg is empty now, right? Correct? So just let it sneak away from the body the same way you did with carry the ball to the side. And as you shift that direction, here comes the left arm along for the ride. And then we're just going to stand up, and we're going to feel the feet touching the ground for a moment. Now we're going to do the other side. Yes. And shifting. Exactly. Now we're going to add the other hand. Okay? So here we go. The other hand just sneaks up on top here. Empty left leg moves away from the body, and as we shift to the left, we pull energetic taffy between the hands. This is a very powerful movement. It generates a lot of heat, actually, especially between the hands. So if you start to feel some unusual sensations between your palms, it's not your imagination. Let's do one more set. And back again. Soles of the feet. Feel them touching the ground. Now we're going to do pulling taffy variation number 1. Many people simply call it anchor taffy. It's exactly like what we just did with a small variation. Here we go. Instead of to the side, your empty leg is going to go forward. And since our body is already facing to the right, the forward leg, the forward toe is going to be facing to the right also. And then we're going to glide forward and come right back. We keep that rear heel anchored down, and that enables us to come right back. And now we're going to go that way, just like we normally would. Nice. Now let's go forward again. And back. And back from the direction we came from, towards your right. That's one set. We're going to do 2 more sets. Here we go. Nice. Let's do one more set. My oldest friend from college, high school, and grade school, actually. We've known each other a long time. Always says, Jessica, you don't teach Tai Chi Cha, you teach Tai Chi Cha-Cha-Cha. And in this one respect, for this one movement pattern, she's right. There's a forward, side, forward, side. I guess she's been paying attention to my videos. It's the slowest, most mindful cha-cha-cha I've ever seen. Good. And feel your feet touching the ground. Just feel them for a moment. Because when you're feeling your feet touching the ground, you're not worrying about stuff that happened long ago, and you're not really concerned with things that may or may not happen in the future, right? You're right where your feet are. We're going to do variation number 2. Many people just call this wrist circles taffy. We're going to let the weight shift to the heels, and the easiest way to do that is both go backwards and down, okay? And we're going to let the fingertips kind of mimic that as well. So as we shift backwards and down, the fingertips just drop. And as we shift forward and a little bit up, the fingertips do the same thing as well. Here we go again. And now we're just going to wind up or corkscrew down, depending on how you look at it, and pull taffy. And now we're going to do the other side. Have you ever seen a willow tree? You ever notice how the branches, they just sort of, they blow in the breeze, almost like strands of hair? I often think wrist circles taffy enables your body to move sort of like a willow tree. Down and up, the branches blow, down and up. And then as the whole tree twists to the side, along go the branches. As we go the other way, they blow apart. That was 2 sets. We're going to do another set. Here we go. This movement is a lot more continuous flow than the movements before it, though. Have you noticed? Feel the body at rest for just a moment. Because now we're going to do the variation of pulling taffy that is the most continuous flow of all. In fact, many people just call it perpetual motion taffy. So it's just like the basic pulling taffy pattern, except we don't stop. All right? So I'm going to show it to you one hand at a time, and then we'll add the second hand in. Okay, so here we go. Perpetual motion, right? That heel is just like a wave on the beach. It comes up and then goes right back down again. You don't know when waves on the beach change directions, but at some point you know they do, and then they move backwards. And now I'm going to add the second hand in. Somewhere in the middle, they just kind of transition and flow back together. There's no precise moment, but you'll know when. Nice. I have definitely lost count. We're going to do just one more set. And end here. Soles of the feet. Feel them touching the ground. Now you're going to love this next movement. It's a combination forward, back, and side to side. It's called working the pulley. I'll do it one time facing you, and I'll do it the other time from the side. So let's all sink down, shift over to your right leg so your left leg can extend. Since the left leg is extended, the left hand comes up near the shoulder. The right hand will turn over and just face the sky. As we flow forward into this left leg, you might imagine this hand's going to come forward too. But here's the thing. The upper body's going to turn away a little bit from that forward moving hand. And that's going to cause this elbow to move behind the body. See it again. Watch it again. Like that. So that's going to enable this hand to get behind you and come up. So they can change positions. Anyway, just follow me and you're going to see how this goes. You're going to know how to do this already. Here we go. It's a very natural, almost swimming-like movement. Right? Only rather than cutting through water, which actually poses a great deal of resistance, right? It's as if we are moving through very heavy air. Or maybe sort of like slow motion, the way you move in a dream. Let's do one more. Feel the body at rest. Let's do the other side. Sinking down and to your left. So your empty right leg can extend. That's why the right hand is up. Left hand faces the sky, and here we go. You see how the upper body is turning from side to side as well as moving forward and back. The proof is now you can see my belly button, and now you can't. Nice. We're going to call this 6. Flowing back to stillness for just a moment. And now we're going to do a movement, sort of like a combination movement, light at the top of the head, light at the temple. So I'll do it partly from the side, and then I'll turn around. We're going to sink down and scoop up a little bit of energy and bring it all the way up to the top of the head. And now we're going to sink and shift to the heels, and then shift and rise to the balls of the feet as the hands kind of separate a little bit, almost like windshield wipers. Good. Now we're going to pull our own energy up and out and mix it with the cosmic consciousness here. It's almost like we're letting our hands roll by each other for about 6 seconds. Then hold for an equal length of time. And now we're going to do that sinking and rising thing again. Here we go. Sink, rise, sink, rise, sink. This time the hands circle all the way around. Right hand comes up under the left. We kind of fold the energy in on itself and then sink back down to the soles of your feet. And now we're going to do the second half of that movement, light at the temple. Same thing, only hands up here at the temples. Sink, rise, sink, rise, sink, rise. Mix forward. It's like you're messing up your hair at the temple line for about 6 seconds. Then hold for about 6 seconds. And sink and rise and sink and rise. Sink, circle. Fold the energy in. Drift back down to motionlessness. Feel the feet touching the floor. now Joyous Breath. It's the movement we always do right after light at the top of the head, light at the temple. Begins the same way as rocking motion. We're going to let the weight sort of ooze into the right leg so we can step out with the left. And turn the toes forward. Now we're going to sink all the way down as we expel all the air out of the lungs with the lips closed. You're going to be making almost like an ujjayi breath or like an ocean breath you'd do if you were practicing yoga in the back of your mouth. And this is the way you do it. Do this first. Say the word ha out loud. Ha. Right? Only now you're going to do it with your lips closed. So here we go. Do it with me. Now we're going to do that whole ocean breath thing. We're going to press down in 4 chunks as we come back down to the soles of the feet. Here we go. Very good. Again. Again. And bring your left foot back to meet the right. Feel the body at rest. And now it's time to do passing clouds, which is exactly the same movement pattern as carry the ball to the side, only the hands are moving independently. The only other little difference is, for some odd reason, it's the only side-to-side weight shift that begins with a weight shift to your left rather than to your right. But otherwise, it's the same. So here we go. We're going to sink and shift to the left. It's like I'm high-fiving the wall over there with my left hand. This guy stays here until it's time for it to do something. All right? Let your empty right leg snake away from the body. And here we go. And as we shift back towards the left, here comes the right hand. Passing clouds. So any of you that are well versed in various Tai Chi practices will almost invariably recognize this movement. Every Tai Chi practice has some version of this. And they all sound a little bit the same. Passing clouds, wave hands like clouds, cloud hands. We're going to do one more. And we're going to flow right back to the soles of the feet. And the second to last movement is called 6 Healing Sounds. I could probably talk for about an hour all about the nuances of 6 healing sounds. I'm going to try to talk you through it uber fast right now. We're going to begin by going forward with just the left hand and the left foot, and we're going to aspirate the sound ho. So rather than saying it out loud, ho, we're going to feel our diaphragm kind of clenching, and you're going to hear the sound coming out audibly of your throat without any words. So it would be more like this. Ho. Okay, so here we go. Left hand, left foot with a ho. Ho. We're going to come back and actually pick up the left foot, and we're going forward again with both hands with a hu. Hu. And now we're going to sweep to the left with both hands as the left foot goes out to the side and aspirate the sound su. Su. Now the right hand, the right foot with the sound sh. Sh. Both hands with the sound shi. Shi. Sweep to the right with the sound chui. Chui. We're going to do the whole thing again. Left hand, left foot, ho. Ho. Both hands, hu. Hu. Sweep left, su. Su. Right hand, right foot, sh. Sh. Both hands, shi. Shi. Sweep right, chui. Chui. Do it again. Ho. Hu. Su. Now we're going to do continuous trees. Tree. It's almost like perpetual motion, Taffy. Tree. Tree. Here's the last one. Tree. And the very last Tai Chi Chuan movement is not even a movement, it's a pose. I like them apples. All right, I'm not going to mirror it because we only do it on one side. It feels too bizarre for me to mirror it. So let's just begin from this rest position that we all know and love by now, right? Feel your feet touching the ground, and without shifting your weight, if you can, just lift your left heel and rotate a little bit and place it down very lightly on your right ankle. It's an important acupressure point right there. So your weight is evenly distributed across the sole of your entire right foot and the ball of your left foot now. All right? The arms will rise until the forearms are basically on the same level as your shoulders. If this feels like work, by the way, just imagine you're resting your forearms on a countertop. The fingertips overlap, and the left ones are actually closer to the body. I remember that because my heart's on the left side. We're just going to hang out here for a moment or two. Just feel your feet touching the ground. You know, we know from physics we're practically swimming through a sea of Chih, a sea of energy at all times. Just because we can't see it and sometimes can't feel it doesn't mean it isn't there. So just notice yourself here in the middle of the sea of energy, the sea of Chih, which essentially connects all of us to all of us. Notice yourself, just being a conduit. And then flow back to the soles of the feet. I'm very grateful for your time today. We had so much fun. Let's finish up by doing a little bit more mindfulness. And maybe you'll notice you feel a little different on the inside in your inner landscape than you did when we started. That's another reason why I like to do this at the beginning and the end. Sometimes you notice a very obvious big change just in these few minutes we were together. I am the very grateful vehicle for bringing that big change to your life. So feel your feet touching the ground. You can do this eyes open or closed, whatever feels comfortable and safe to you. Find some spot in your inner landscape with your mind's eye on which to focus your attention, preferably a spot you very rarely pay any attention to. And we're going to call the bell. And if your mind wanders before you hear me ringing the bell again, no worries. Just invite it back. That's just what minds do. Let us begin. So that's all the Tai Chi I have for you today. But I do want to tell you once again that my name is Jessica Lewis, and the name of my company is Sculpt Your Life. Actually, I have on my company t-shirt today. Sculpt Your Life, personal training, nutritional counseling, and moving meditation. And you can find me very easily, I've been told by the Google gurus, that if you simply search any combination, Jessica Lewis, Sculpt Your Life, Jessica Lewis, Sculpt Your Life, Jessica Lewis, Delaware, that almost always I just pop up first. But the name of my company is spelled a little bit differently when you go to look for my website. Frankly, because when I went to buy the domain 17 years ago, Sculpt Your Life, spelled traditionally, was already taken. So it's spelled www.sculpt, SCULPT, UR, life, life.com, sculptyourlife.com. But again, if you Google me, I will pop up. And please take some time to go to my website. It's very robust. There's a lot of information there, not just about Tai Chi Chih, but about all aspects of my lifestyle coaching private practice. There's all kinds of videos there. I'm on YouTube and I'm on all the social media channels too. Actually, because of COVID, I've got so much free content online now. I'm almost creating the situation in which I might never have a paying student again, because I've met a lot of people in the last year that swear they have learned how to do Tai Chi by practicing with me on my YouTube channel. So if you want to practice every day, or at least every day between now and the next time I'm here, which I believe is 2 weeks from now, then you can easily do that. In fact, all the research shows that just 15 minutes a day, or a little more if you want, but at least 15 minutes a day of doing Tai Chi Chih will absolutely positively make some pretty big improvements in your health. And if you want to learn more about that, go to my website, click on the Moving Meditation page, and you'll actually see the medical journal studies there. Okay, so I'm very grateful to all of you who keep tuning back in week after week. I'm also very grateful to all of you who chose to tune in today for the first time, and I hope you come back. I'll be here in 2 more weeks, and I think after that I might be here beginning every week. I'm not sure. I have to check with Eric on that. But I wish you all nothing but health, peace, and all good, and lots and lots and lots and lots of Chi. Thank you so much for your time.